Welcome back, all you unsupervised children that got lost in Silphco, to another episode of Video Game World Tours, a series where we slow down and soak in a game's environment. Today we're returning to the Kanto region to look at the latter half of the game. Link to the first episode is in the cards and description if you want to watch it first. Our journey in this video starts with Lavender Town. This town is honestly kind of surprising considering the tone of the towns and cities that preceded it. The Pokemon world has been mostly cheerful and whimsical so far, and while there might have been hints towards the darker side with Team Rocket, they go all in with Lavender Town. Death exists in the Pokemon universe. Not just fainting, not getting knocked out, dying. This guy says Lavender Town is the gravesite of Pokemon. This one says ghosts appeared in the nearby Pokemon Tower, and speculates that they're the spirits of Pokemon killed by Team Rocket. That's honestly crazy. It's so bizarre to see this, considering what Team Rocket and other villainous groups would become in later games. Yeah, they'll talk about bringing about a new world or something, but very rarely is death ever confronted so head-on. Another bit of that unique Generation 1 charm. This girl asks if you believe in ghosts. If you say no, she claims that that white hand on your shoulder isn't real. Is there a ghost? Could be. Spooky. I mean, ghosts are technically real, I guess. Ghastly exists. But is it a ghost or a ghost type? Is there a difference? Whatever, there is genuinely something going on in this town, and it's all centered on Pokemon Tower. Inside are more NPCs talking about the mortality of Pokemon. This guy came to pray for his Clefairy, and he cries. This girl's Growlithe died. That's heavy. And this lady's a channeler. I guess if there were actual ghosts around, people like this would have a purpose. All the trainers you fight in here claim they were possessed after you defeat them. And on this floor, there's a little space that, when you walk on it, your party is healed. Talking to this lady reveals that she sealed it with white magic? Like Final Fantasy white magic? That kinda came out of left field. Wasn't really expecting magic to be a thing that exists in the Pokemon universe. Though I guess psychic Pokemon exist, but is that really magic? This whole town is just weird, with perhaps the most iconic weird part of this town being the music. As someone who was all in on the creepypasta scene back in the early to mid 2010s, let me tell you, you couldn't escape this song. Lavender Town Syndrome was a popular rumor going around that, when this game was released in Japan, kids began to get sick once they reached Lavender Town and heard this song. They'd get headaches and some might have even killed themselves, all because of the unnatural tones used in this song you're listening to. How are you feeling, by the way? Of course, that story is a bunch of nonsense. No kids jumped to their death or hanged themselves after hearing this song. This is just a kinda morbid town with a bizarre backing track. But even now, so many years after having experienced those stories, I still feel a slight sense of unease. It's probably not even the content of the creepypasta itself. I just remember having off-putting feelings about the town back then. And no matter how much I rationalize it over a decade later, I'm pulled back to my younger self. This song still has the key to trigger unease in me. From the most ominous town in the game, to one of the more upbeat, welcome to Celadon City. There's a lot to talk about here, but we'll start with the Celadon Mansion. First floor has a lady with her Pokemon walking about. Second floor has literally nothing. Just a bed, computer, and some books. Just what is this room anyway? Game Freak Meeting Room. What kind of meeting room is this? Have you ever seen a meeting room with a bed? And wait a minute. Game Freak? Like the developer? They wrote their own development studio into the game? Yep, that's exactly what they did. On the third floor is where they do their work, and there's some employees you can talk to. This guy's the programmer. If you look at his computer, your character gets a look at the code of the game. Below him is the writer. He says he likes Erica, then Misty, And Sabrina, too. Dude, just pick one. His computer has the game's script on it, and you decide you shouldn't look at the ending. Finally is the graphic artist. He reveals he drew you. This is insane, right? This game feels super grounded in a lot of ways compared to other RPGs like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. Sure, Lavender Town was a little weird, but Pokemon are weird too. But this must be mind-blowing in-world. You are not a real person with hopes and dreams. You are lines of code in a computer, and you were drawn by this guy. That must be an existential nightmare. Of course, this isn't meant to imply any of that. This was just the developers having a bit of fun and including themselves in the game. Like, think about the graphics artist. Not only did he draw the playable character here, he also drew the art for himself. That's fun. And inspecting his computer reveals he's playing a game instead of working. I like to think that this refers to a specific guy on the team that would play games during work hours as well. I like how playful this inclusion is. It reminds you not to take the world too seriously. Unfortunately for Game Freak, my job is to take video game worlds too seriously. Sorry guys. In the southeastern corner of town is a hotel. And I feel like I get bitten in the ass every time I say this because I always miss something, but I'll say it again for some reason. I don't think there's anything of importance here. The main story doesn't bring you here, and I'm pretty sure there wasn't an item inside when I first came by. The only thing of interest are these 3 NPCs. This girl says she's on vacation with her brother and boyfriend. Seems like she's having a good time. The little brother does too. The boyfriend, on the other hand, why did she have to bring her brother? That's honestly the funniest thing I've seen out of this game. It's even funnier considering you'll likely talk to the NPCs in the order I presented them. The girl and her little brother are close to the entrance, so you'll probably talk to them first. Then you walk across the room to the boyfriend and get the punchline. It's like the level designers and the writers work together on that joke. I love this little hotel for that. On the western side of town is a big empty space. It's kinda weird to see a spot this large with nothing in it. Like no houses, trees, anything. If you stand in the right spot, all you can see is tiles from screen edge to screen edge. No buildings or decorations to indicate which town you're in. Though, considering you're right in front of the department store, maybe this is a little plaza. Speaking of the department store, this is the biggest shopping area in the game. Most marts are tiny little convenience stores, but this one is massive. You have this little plaque telling you what each of the 6 floors has. This feels like something more towns should have. I kinda brushed past it in the last video, but normal marts truly are small. Like, would this have everything you and everyone else in your town needs to survive? Definitely not. And even a building as big as this probably wouldn't have everything you need, but whatever, it's a video game. On the 3rd floor is the TV game shop. At the front desk is a guy that says he just finished Pokemon. Oh, okay, we already went through this. Not gonna have another existential crisis. Over here are some kids trading Pokemon. I noticed an interesting detail about these two. I don't know if more characters do this and I just didn't notice, but when you approach them from the side and talk to them, they turn their head to face you, rather than turn their whole body. Every NPC I can think of turns their whole body to talk to you, but these guys keep their body facing forward while turning their heads. I just think it's neat that they gave them some unique sprite art for them playing on their Game Boy like that. Also in the room are some Super Nintendos. This girl's playing an RPG, but apparently there's no time for that, so I guess we'll move on. Heading back outside, there's a strip of land along the northern side of town. It's kind of out of the way. Not sure anyone would find themselves here during normal day-to-day activities. Big plot of land behind the department store. I'm sure there's a hidden item or two back here, but the main reason to come this way is the secret entrance to the Celadon mansion. It takes you all the way to the roof where there's another building. Inside that is a guy who proclaims he knows everything about the world of Pokemon in your Game Boy. Yeah, okay dude. He does give you a free Eevee though, I definitely took that. Cycling Road is nearby, and it's long. There's not a lot of areas in this game that give you such expansive and uninterrupted paths like this. A lot of the game feels claustrophobic. You're put in mazes with such narrow paths that are literally the width of you. It's like these are all Amigara fault holes built just for you, and you're forced to find your way through. But this is freeing. So much open space. And you're forced downwards, so I guess it's sloped? This is the only place in the game where you're forced onto your bike, so it's kind of an interesting spot for a handful of reasons. Something I was kind of surprised by is that I think there's some unique surf dialogue here. If you try to surf, the game tells you, cycling is fun, forget surfing. I'm pretty sure this is unique to Cycling Road, because I tried surfing elsewhere while riding a bike, and it just let me. So how about that? They really don't want you on this water, for some reason. Heading back just to the east of Celadon City is Saffron City. I kinda don't have a lot to say about this place. It feels a bit more wealthier than Celadon, but doesn't have much more going on. I had some text pop up on screen in the first video, but I didn't directly talk about it. So now I want to fully voice my distaste with this path texture. I always hated how you can't walk in the center of it. It reminds me of a comment I saw once. They said they really like to save their game in the center of the Pokeball floor pattern in the Pokemon Center in Fire Red and Leaf Green. It just felt right to them. In a similar sort of way, this just feels wrong. Make the whole path 3 tiles wide or 1 tile wide? I don't care, just change it, Game Freak. Release a patch and let me walk in the center. I need to move on, my blood pressure is rising. Silphco. I think this might be the tallest building in the game? It almost looks comical from the outside, how every floor has the same windows reaching all the way to the top, and it's just a big ol' rectangle. Inside is 11 floors of pure confusion. For some reason, they have teleporters that teleport you around to the various floors. And there are a ton of locked doors, so you have to plan a route with those in mind. I think this was the most confusing dungeon to tackle. Just thank God it didn't have random encounters. I think it would genuinely be the worst place in the game if it did. The executive suite on the top floor is only reachable by teleporter. That's kinda weird, isn't it? Like there's an elevator right there. Why wouldn't they have a door leading to it instead of forcing the higher-ups to do part of the maze every time they want to get up there? I gotta leave Saffron. This place is too much for me. Fuchsia City feels kinda maze-like. More so than any other settlement in the game, I think. You have this main road that takes you from west to east through the town, and north and south of that path are where the important buildings are. Going south from the middle of town reveals the Pokemon Center is on a ledge above you, so you gotta walk all the way around, down and through this narrow corridor, and then you reach the area with the gym and Pokemon Center. Those feel like the 2 most important things in a town, and it's weird they're so isolated in Fuchsia here. The northern side of town is dedicated to the Safari Zone. To reach it, you can either cut this tree and go straight through, or walk the winding path to the zone itself. I feel like most travelers wouldn't cut down a tree for convenience in a town they just arrived in, so I won't either. Oh, I get it. It's kinda like a zoo. Got some Pokemon on display to look at. That's a Voltorb. Since it's the same sprite as an item you can pick up in the world, I wonder if that is just an item. Considering it's completely enclosed, there's no way to reach and interact with it, unfortunately. Alright, the Safari Zone. After paying up 500 Pokédollars, you're given 30 Safari Balls and 500 steps. If you run out of either inside the park, you're kicked out and have to pay to get back in. I don't know what the general consensus is for the Safari Zone, but I'm kinda not a fan, at least in this interpretation. I think it's cool that the game has one distinct area with a lot of rare Pokemon. It's kinda cool that there's a unique catching system for them, still not 100% sure how I feel about it. It can be annoying at times. What I particularly don't like about this Safari Zone is that you're forced to reach the end of it to progress the story. There are only 4 main areas, which might not seem like a lot, but they're all interconnected, so it might be easy to lose your way. Plus, keep in mind, you only have 500 steps before you're kicked out. You could use a lot of those just walking around the edges of the map, looking for an exit that doesn't exist. That, mixed with a dead end or two, makes this place super annoying to me. The building at the end is a good spot though. It's way at the end of the maze, and it's just some guy in a room. But what is the room? It looks like these are tapes of some kind? Is this the Safari Zone's supercomputer? Probably. Route 19 is where you finally leave the Kanto mainland and take to the sea. Considering you get surf right before doing this, it's exciting to get to use that new form of traversal in such an open area. And by God, is this area open. It's kinda scary thinking about it in-world. This is the first time your character hops on their Pokemon's back and goes out to open waters. I don't think they have the proper training for this. Even though there are barriers preventing you from wandering off too far east or west, it just feels open. Who knows how much further down it stretches. The next gym is located on Cinnabar Island. This is as isolated as it gets. It's probably also one of the smallest towns in the game, right behind Pallet, I'd bet. The Pokemon Mansion is a peculiar spot. In it, you can find diaries of a scientist chronicling their journey discovering Mew, and a powerful new creature born from it. What really struck me by surprise reading this is that the first diary calls out a real-ass country on a real-ass continent. Guyana is a real place, and apparently Mew is hiding in the jungles there. Has anyone sent out search teams looking for Mew? We should get on that. Anyway, that's another weird Generation 1 quirk. I know fictional regions in Pokemon games take heavy inspiration from real-life regions. And I guess Kanto is not just based on, but named after a real-life region in Japan. It's just weird to see such a blatant call-out to an actual country that actual human people live in. I can't think of a single other time in Pokemon after this generation where a non-fictional place was referred to like that. But maybe you know about an instance that I don't. Leave a comment if you do. But do it in a way where you don't make me feel bad about not knowing it. I'm very sensitive. That weird Pokemon born from Mew. I wonder if we'll ever see that. Nah, probably not. There's an alternate exit to the mansion on the first floor, all the way on the far eastern side of the building. Walking out that door leads you out of the same door you came in. There's 2 exits inside, but 1 entrance outside. Convenient? Yes. Bizarre? Perchance. Alright, that's that. We've looked at every major town in the game. But wait, we've only visited 7 gyms. We gotta go back to where it all started. Surfing north of Cinnabar leads you straight to Pallet Town. This is such a cool moment. When you first start the game, you might take notice of this little pool here. But you probably never imagined you'd arrive here back through it. You probably never even considered that surfing would even be an option later in the game. But here you are, returning back home with your journey nearly complete. Nearly complete. There's still a couple more things to do. Back in good old Viridian City, you're finally able to enter the gym and challenge its leader. I love that the game set this gym up early on. Like this is the first gym you see in the game, and it's also the last one you challenge. It kinda wraps a bow on your whole adventure. To the west, though, is where the true end of the journey lies. The Pokemon League front gates are a building you can actually enter when you first arrive in Viridian City. But this little guy will stop you from going forward until you get the first badge. You can return after getting it and go further into the route. But again, someone blocks your way until you get the next badge. There's 8 checks throughout here for each badge you can earn. Something I appreciate about this area are all the unique tiles. I may be wrong, but I don't think this building type is used anywhere else in the game. It makes your journey through here memorable. And it's a somewhat long journey going through all the checks. Not really dangerous per se, just a long walk. I like that, it builds up tension. It is interesting to just hang out around this area though. There's no real reason to. This little patch of land sticks out. And of course, there's a hidden item on it. I could have told you that without checking though. It's too obvious. At the end of this trek lies Victory Road, the final dungeon before the Elite Four. It's not super challenging or anything if you're appropriately leveled, but it's a nice change of pace between the gym battle in Viridian and the 5 straight battles you're about to do with the Elite Four and Champion. It is kind of a challenge in that it's a long walk from the nearest Pokemon Center back here. If you fly to Viridian to heal, you have to walk all the way up the route yourself. The next fly point is right outside the exit of Victory Road, so you have to beat it first to fast travel here. Reaching the end of Victory Road is a small accomplishment in and of itself. You might expect that you'd be right at the front gates of the Indigo Plateau, but no. You're forced to walk through a tiny maze of statues. And I do mean tiny. There's only 2 paths, with the dead-end path not being too long. Not sure why they did this. Like, I'm not sure why the Pokemon League would do this, and I'm not sure why the developers would do this. It's kinda weird. I'd expect more of a long path with decorations on both sides leading you into the building itself, but all we got is this mess of statues. Okay, after solving the most complex maze known to man, we finally can take on the Elite Four. There's not much to explore around here, but the vibes certainly are special. The whole journey has been building up to this, and here you are, facing the most difficult challenge in the game. You have to take on 5 battles in a row without leaving these rooms. You have a break between battles so you can heal and plan, but you're stuck with what you brought in. It's almost like a cage match. You and your opponent are locked in this room together until one of you is defeated. The fact that you can't even turn around and say, "I quit, I'm too scared, let me out of here," brings so much gravity to the situation. You committed to either winning or losing this challenge. It's tense. You can't tap out partway through. And that's the game. No more areas to explore after these rooms. Game over. Well, not quite yet. There's a tradition in Pokemon games where something usually unlocks after beating the Elite Four. Surprisingly, that was established in the first game here with Cerulean Cave. The trusty Royal Guard that we saw in the last episode is gone now, and you're free to enter. It really is a maze in here, and nothing like the simple one we looked at just before the Elite Four. This one will challenge you. The Pokemon here are strong too. Either bring a lot of healing items, or grind up some levels beforehand. If you don't know where you're going, you'll be in here a while. Eventually though, through blood, sweat, and tears, you arrive at the end. The genetic Pokemon Mewtwo stands tall, ready for battle. I think this might be my favorite spot in the game. It feels so mystical down here. Mewtwo chose this spot to reside in for some reason. Who knows what he does down here? Maybe he was drawn to some ancient power deep below the city. And the fact that it is just below a normal city is so interesting. He's not on some island in the middle of the ocean where nobody would reach him. He's deep inside a cave under a relatively populated city. This game doesn't really deep dive into the lore of legendaries like later games do. Reading those journals on Cinnabar, you get a bit of backstory, but not much. This is something you gotta go out of your way to find. And I think that's when Pokemon is at its best, when it hides cool little things for you to find on your own. I love that Cerulean Cave represents that. Check out either of these videos up next. I had a blast going through this game, and I will play Pokemon Crystal someday. I'm taking a break from the series for a bit, so it might be a while, but rest assured, a Generation 2 tour will come out someday. Probably. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.